compliance manager, and I am going to be the one who is presenting to you all today. So again, thank you so much for being here. We'll make sure that you get this recording when we're finished, along with some handouts and things like that. So let's kick it right off. You may have used the terms identity theft, fraud, and scams interchangeably. While they are all related, there are some slight differences between these three things. So let's start by defining these key terms and going through some examples of each. So according to the Federal Trade Commission, identity theft is when someone uses your personal or financial information without your permission. This could include info like your name, social security number, credit card, or bank account numbers. An identity thief could then use this information to do a variety of things, such as apply for credit and open new accounts in your name, or even file unemployment claims or tax refunds using your identity, but making sure the money goes to the accounts they have access to. Fraud, on the other hand, is when someone tries to trick you out of your information and money. According to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, while this is very similar to identity theft, a key difference is that fraud often involves unauthorized use of existing accounts versus opening new accounts in your name. So some examples of this might be unauthorized purchases made using your debit card or credit card number, or perhaps forged checks. We also just want to spend a couple of minutes talking about some examples of things that are unfortunate, frustrating, and in some cases violating, but are not actually fraud. The first of which being giving someone permission to use your debit card or credit card or your account information. Then they use it for more than you expected or in a way you did not agree to. Again, this is frustrating and very unfortunate, but if authorization was provided to the individual to use your card or account, this would typically not be considered fraud. Another example would not be canceling a subscription, membership, or free trial before you are charged. If your card information was entered when you signed up, that provides authorization for them to charge you as agreed, meaning this would also not be considered fraud. Sometimes companies are willing to refund you, which is worth exploring if this happens to you, but a fraud claim would typically not be applicable. Another example would be if someone who is authorized to use an account as a joint owner or an authorized user uses it. This can sometimes happen when elderly parents add their adult children to their account, or in cases of divorce. If you share account access with someone you expect may try to use the funds or ring up charges, explore what steps you can take to remove them from the account or separate funds into individual accounts. In the example of a divorce, you may need to speak with your lawyer about how you are required to handle this. And one final example of unfortunate situations that are not actually fraud is if your kids get a hold of your card or use saved payment information in your devices to make purchases without your knowledge. As more and more kids use apps with an app purchase option, it's strongly recommended that you do not keep payment information saved in devices your kids have access to in an effort to avoid this. And finally, let's talk about one more key term: scams. Scammers are intentionally deceptive and try to trick you into actually providing them your information or money. A key difference between fraud and scams is that a scam is often harder to recover losses from, as there is typically some type of authorization provided. Examples could be romance scams, where someone starts a fake relationship, usually online, to build trust and eventually starts asking for money. Scammers may also use phishing to try and get people to provide personal information that is then used to steal their identity or commit fraud. Scammers have gotten really, really clever, and each and every day they're showing that they are getting better. They use a variety of methods to try to steal your information, including, but unfortunately not limited to, emails, text messages, phone calls, ransomware, and more. So let's review a few examples of scams and how they could be identified as such. So many of us receive shipments regularly, meaning it's common to receive shipping and delivery notifications. This one immediately looks suspicious. You can see that even though this says UPS, this is not the UPS logo. It's a little hard to see here, but the from email address is not from a UPS domain. The package number in the email also does not match the package number in the subject line, which is another clue. There are also several other buttons and links throughout this email that they really hope someone clicks on. Chances are these link to a website that will either download something to your computer unknowingly or try to get you to type in personal information. And last, but certainly not least, if you search the address at the bottom of this email, it pulls up this location, which looks nothing like a UPS shipping facility to me. Let's look at another example, but this time I want you all to think about what makes this email look suspicious. So if you're looking at the misspellings that are all throughout this email, if you're also looking at Gmail, the logo is an old logo, not the newer logo. The wording and sentence structure is odd. The from email address is suspicious. And then there's all these links that they want you to click on. Definitely very odd. There's also a lot of urgency in this email, and that's common. They try to make it so urgent that you're not thinking clearly about how customer is misspelled, or that it's the wrong logo, or that it doesn't spell out the email address. And then suddenly there's a button then you could click to make it all go away. That's the kind of urgency that they want to create for you. So in summary, there are a lot of dishonest people out there who are willing to do some really extreme things to take advantage of honest people. Whether it's by stealing someone's identity, committing fraud, or scamming someone. As technology has advanced, it is more important than ever to be constantly vigilant to avoid falling victim. There are a lot of ways someone might attempt to access your personal information or your hard-earned funds. So another example we want to spend more time on because it is so prevalent is elderly fraud. Unfortunately, there are scammers out there who specifically prey on and target older adults. While this is referred to as elder fraud, most examples fall under the definition of scams because the efforts are typically centered on getting elderly individuals to provide information or send money themselves. There is a perception that older people have more money in the bank to target, and some people believe elders may be more susceptible to scams. Whether you consider yourself as an elder or love and take care of an elder, we want to talk over some things the National Council on Aging shares as common examples of elder fraud to be aware of and on guard against. A sweepstakes scam is when someone tells a person they have won a prize, like Publishers Clearinghouse or something like the lottery. The alleged winner is told that they must send something, perhaps cash, gift cards, or money orders, up front to cover the processing fees and claim their prize. After these alleged upfront costs are paid, the scammer takes that money and runs with no winnings ever materializing. In some cases, the person may even be sent their winnings up front by way of check or money order. The person may deposit the funds and send their fees and taxes back to the scammer just in time for the deposited check to bounce and them to be out of that money. Tech support scams are a way of taking advantage of an older person's perceived lack of knowledge and skills when it comes to computers. A message may appear on the person's device displaying a phone number for them to call for technological support. If the person calls, they may be asked to pay a fee for help or be asked to grant the scammer authorization to remote into their computer, perhaps giving them access to files and information saved on the device, including financial documents and accounts. The grandparent scam is especially awful. In these situations, a scammer calls and pretends to be the individual's grandchild, asking for urgent help for something like getting out of jail, paying for their rent, or something else extremely pressing. The fake grandchild usually begs the grandparent not to tell anyone, claiming their parent would be angry with them for getting into the predicament they are calling for. In this scam, people may again be asked to immediately send cash, gift cards, or another type of money transfer. Some scammers will impersonate various government agencies, such as the IRS, Social Security Administration, or Medicare, in an effort to demand various payments urgently or pressure individuals to provide personal information that is then used to steal their identity. So this is the most common scams elders experience. These scammers may be able to spoof the actual government agency's phone number, potentially appearing as the agency they are pretending to be from the on-phone caller ID. So sometimes, despite even taking careful precautions, identity theft, fraud, and scams can still occur. This can be scary, frustrating, violating, and for some people, humiliating. We want you to know that if you experience identity theft or fraud, you are not alone. So let's talk about some signs to watch for and some steps to take as soon as you recognize something might not be right. If you notice unusual transactions on your accounts, take action immediately, even if they are small charges. Sometimes scammers will push through very small charges, like $1 or less, to confirm if a card is active or not. They hope the charge is small enough to go undetected by the account holder, or hope you may just ignore it because it's so small. However, if the charge is not blocked or disputed, they may then push a larger charge through later. If you notice a charge you don't recognize, do a little research. Sometimes valid transactions do come through under the unexpected names. Think back to where you spent money recently to see if the amounts line up, and do some online research under the name connected to the transaction. If you are unable to put your finger on what it is, reach out to your financial institution immediately to dig deeper and take action if needed before someone cleans out your account. While it may seem like a relief at first, if you realize you've suddenly stopped receiving bills or statements, this can also be a sign someone has gained access to your accounts and changed account information to avoid you noticing the unauthorized account usage. On the flip side of that, if you start receiving credit cards or statements in the mail that you know you didn't apply for, this can be a sign that someone has used your information to apply for credit using your identity. Contact the creditors immediately to research and take action as needed if you receive an unexpected credit card in the mail. Another sign that someone may be using your identity is if you are unexpectedly denied credit you do apply for. Of course, not every credit denial is an indicator of identity theft, but if you believe your credit should be in good standing, dig deeper into the denial reason to ensure it was not a result of identity theft. And finally, whether you are combing your credit reports after a credit denial or are simply reviewing it for accuracy, which is recommended to do at least once a year, if not more often, and it can be done at annualcreditreport.com. While you're doing that, look for unknown accounts or inquiries on your credit report, which could indicate someone is using your personal information to apply for credit. Even if accounts are not actually opened, unrecognized inquiries can be a sign that someone is using your information to try and open something up. If you notice any of these things, you may be asking, what now? First, take a deep breath. Like we just mentioned, experiencing identity theft, fraud, or a scam can bring a lot of emotions. This is not your fault. You are not alone, and it is going to be okay. If you are experiencing identity theft, someone is using your information to open accounts in your name, file a report with the Federal Trade Commission, and you can do so at identitytheft.gov or by calling 877-438-4338. This is information you will receive in an email after this webinar. When you call that phone number, they will gather some information from you and walk you through the steps to take, including what additional authorities may need to be alerted. And then again, whether you're experiencing identity theft, fraud, or a scam, alert your financial institution and creditors immediately. If someone has gained unauthorized access to your accounts or personal information, you will likely need to close that account and open a new one. Ask about additional security measures you can put in place for your accounts as well. You may be instructed to file a police report depending on the type of fraud that has occurred. You are also encouraged to place a fraud alert and freeze on your credit reports by contacting the credit bureaus, TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. A fraud alert lets anyone who pulls your credit know your information may have been compromised by fraud or identity theft. So they know to take additional steps to confirm you are who you say you are. A credit freeze prevents anyone from being able to access your credit report, meaning this can help prevent new accounts from being opened using your information. It is important to be aware that this does include you. So if you need to apply for credit, remember to contact the credit bureaus to lift that freeze first. A credit freeze is a good idea to consider if you are concerned someone may try to use your information, even if they have not done so yet. If you lose documents containing personal information, or you're going through a messy divorce or family situation with someone who knows your identifying information, this can be a good precautionary step to contact the credit bureaus and lift the freeze. I'm sorry, this could be a good precautionary step to take. Yes, it's an extra step to contact the credit bureaus and lift the freeze when you choose to apply for credit, but this extra step is much easier than dealing with fraud or identity theft. And finally, if someone gets a hold of your information that shouldn't have it, change your passwords for all accounts immediately. Enable multi-factor authentication as well, meaning someone will be unable to hack into the account and change the password without also having access to your phone or email to confirm the requested change. So as we wrap up, we want to leave you with a few tips to prevent identity theft, fraud, and scams. Unfortunately, there is no guaranteed way to ensure you will be able to avoid this. Like we mentioned earlier, even the most vigilant of people can still experience this. But just like a locked door does not prevent a criminal from breaking in, it can slow them down and give you more time to notice what is happening and react quickly before more damage is done. So first, if someone reaches out to you, whether it's by phone, by email, or text message, and is being very high pressure and urgent with their demands, pushing you to take action without thinking it through, consider this a huge red flag, especially if this communication is unsolicited or unfamiliar. It's extremely rare that something would truly need such immediate attention that you cannot take the time to confirm the legitimacy of the request first. As a general rule, never give personal or financial information to anyone who you did not initiate communication with. Another way to protect yourself is to know what to look for by staying up to date on common scams. Knowing what other people have experienced can help you be alert to similar scam attempts. Sometimes scammers will target similar groups of people in similar areas, so keep an eye on the news for scams that may be popping up near you. You can also install trusted software to protect your devices from cyber scammers. Additionally, be sure to always create a password for your devices. If you leave your computer, tablet, or phone somewhere accidentally and it ends up in the wrong hands, a device password could be the difference between someone stealing your identity or not. Similarly, keep an eye on websites you visit to ensure they are secure. Look for the HTTPS at the front of websites' URLs. The S stands for secure and indicates that website is using additional security measures. This is especially important to check on any websites you will be entering personal or financial information into. Speaking of, I know, these days everything has a password and we all cringe at the advice to have a strong, unique password for every account, but it is really helpful. If a scammer gets access to a password, the fewer accounts they have access to with it, the better. Consider using longer paraphrases instead of passwords. They may be easier to remember and more difficult to hack. Use your favorite song lyrics, movie quotes, TV show quotes, something you are grateful for, something you are looking forward to, your current favorite meal. The possibilities are endless. Not only will a paraphrase like this be memorable, but the character length will be long enough and you can add additional complexities with uppercase letters, numbers, special characters to end up with a really strong password. And then consider using a trusted, secure password manager on your devices to make it easy to keep track of unique passwords for each account. It is extremely rare that a financial institution, creditor, or government agency would reach out to you and ask you to provide personal information unsolicited. Assume that anyone initiating contact with you and asking you to provide information by phone, email, or text message is suspicious, and do your due diligence before providing it. Any financial institution or government agency would be glad you are keeping your information safe and would encourage you to verify the request first. And then, as we mentioned this earlier, but it's also important to keep an eye on your credit report to watch for unauthorized activity. You can do this for free at annualcreditreport.com. If you are concerned about someone stealing your identity, remember that you can place that freeze on your credit report with the 3 bureaus to ideally prevent anyone from being able to open accounts in your name. And then finally, trust your instincts. If something seems weird or off, anyone who is truly trying to help you will not be upset that you want to confirm the legitimacy of their request. Hang up the phone and call the company's verified phone number from your statements, credit reports, insurance card, or an official verified website, and not just a phone number the person on the phone tells you to call for confirmation. If they try to talk you out of this, it's further proof you are right to be skeptical. Don't be afraid to ask questions or ask someone you trust for their opinion on the situation if something doesn't feel right. Be better to be safe than sorry. So if you're wanting to learn more about identity theft, fraud, and how to prevent it, you can check out this resource on Neighborhood's co-branded GreenPath website. You can scan this QR code with your phone now. It is safe, it is secure. You can do that now to gain access to that page. We also are going to make sure that you have some materials that are going to be sent in an email for further education. And then just to let you all know, we do have an upcoming GreenPath webinar that is available to register for now. You can scan this QR code for that as well. That webinar is Military Financial Wellness. So we're asking if you would like to join our Veterans Day webinar to explore financial tips, benefits, and strategies for service members, veterans, and their families. So you can scan this QR code as well now to register for that webinar. If you choose to register, but maybe you can't attend it, that is okay. We still ask that you register because we will send you the recorded webinar once it has gone live. And then I did see a question. I did see your question, Amelia. I am happy to answer that for you.
Yes. My daughter is recently helping a family member out with this kind of a thing, identity theft, fraud, scam, the whole 9 yards. And one of the sites that